Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Article of the Week, and today we will be talking about this one article that I curated, which is named British Imperial Rule Lives On. Now, unless you have been living under a rock, you know how the British colonial history has effectively shaped the entire perspective of South Asian view on development, culture, and even sports for that matter of fact. Now, when we move forward into this article is centered around how our own views are still being affected by our colonial history. It actually talks about how the rules that were once considered to be draconian and that were once considered to be a sign of colonial rule have actually made their way into the judicial systems of free countries now, which were previously colonies. Now, I'm going to give you the upfront conclusion first, because that's how we roll at Article of the Week. So the upfront conclusion is that everyone is a liberal and egalitarian democrat till they taste power. So that was the upfront conclusion. Let's get down to the in-depth analysis. So you do remember that whenever we talk about draconian laws or whenever we talk about the imperial rule, we accidentally attribute everything bad that has ever happened in the history of a nation to these rulers of ours, to these past rulers of ours. And we also forget that they have also contributed significantly to the development of certain ideas within our nation, the ideas which we hold so dear to our heart. For example, India's bout with federalism, for example, or India's bout with democracy have been taken from other countries around the world, and those countries are not exactly the poster boy of sustainable development or even ethical practices, as a matter of fact. Moving forward, whenever we think about these colonial masters of ours, we often say that that was the worst period of time in history, and it is good that it has now gone by and we have improved so much from that time, right? As if we have progressed linearly from that point of time. It was as if that the colonial masters themselves were like a hindrance towards our progress, and their removal has automatically made us improve without any proper effort from our end. It was as if our natural tendency was to progress forward, and it was just the colonial overlords who were stopping us from progressing any further. Now, when I look at this, I find that even though the people are very quick to point out how British rule was really bad for India, and Shashi Tharoor has an entire Oxford Union debate over this. Of course, most of the people who are watching this video are familiar with Shashi Tharoor. They're also familiar with his famous Oxford Union debate, where he made the case that Britain still owes reparations to India for the damage that it had dealt to India back in the early 1900s and late 1800s. And on that basis, we really applaud his efforts, and we really say that yes, go ahead Shashi Tharoor, you're doing the right thing, and of course Britain was really bad to us. But we forget that so many of our laws, especially laws within India or laws within Hong Kong, for example, even laws that exist within Myanmar, are basically an echoing upgradation of the draconian laws that were in place, that were put in place by these colonial overlords of ours, right? And we use these laws in order to implement our own idea of what used to be, or what has to be. And whenever we use these laws, we sort of become what we hate. We become the colonial overlords. Let's just say that there is a political party around, and let's just come up with a hypothetical region. Okay, I'm going to go with Atlantis here. All right, so we've got Atlantis, and there's a political party on top of it. Now the king thinks that I am somebody who is the best of everyone out there. I have a brain, I can use it, I'm better than all of my public combined, so I'm going to decide on their behalf what is good for them, regardless of what they think is good or bad for them. That is basically how a dictatorship works. There is actually a very famous quote about this particular point, and it goes like, each dictator believes in freedom of expression just for himself. So that's how freedom of expression is viewed by dictators themselves. So in their perspective, in their view, everything is fine, everything is completely normal, because they get to express themselves, and they cannot relate with not being able to express themselves, because he has never been in a position like that. He has been a dictator, and he knows what power feels like, and that is all he has ever known. And even the most humanitarian of people can actually fall prey to this. They may end up supporting draconian laws which put people behind bars without any fair trial, without any charges, on no grounds whatsoever. And these grounds, these supposed allegations, cannot even be proven most of the times. And this is why South Asia is still struggling with its colonial history in some sense, whether it be Myanmar, whether it be Hong Kong, within China, and of course whether it be India. We have all had some really bad laws being put into practice that are not, let's just say, constructive towards the idea of India that we envision it to be. And that was all for this one, guys. I hope to see you in the next video. Of course, if you want the detailed summary of this entire article which I curated, it's going to be down in the description box below, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.